So we are hearing this morning from a mother who ran inside the school in Uvalde, Texas to protect her kids. She says that police held her back and handcuffed her as the shooting unfolded. Lilia Luciano has the exclusive interview. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Anne Marie, and to Vlad. You know, I met with Angeli Gomez yesterday in a field nearby. She's a farm worker. She was telling me that her kids, on the morning of the shooting, had both graduation ceremonies or a ceremony at school. She showed up there, but she didn't want to take photos with them. She told me she was embarrassed because she had come straight from work. She was working early that morning, and she was dusty from the field. But her kids told her, "Mom, we want to take this photo." She says, "You know, I'm so glad I took that photo because it could have been the last one." And it was for many of the parents who lost their children who had been there. Like many parents, after that, she left, she went back to work, back to the field. And within 10 minutes, she received a frantic call from her mom telling her that there was a shooting at the school. So she got in her car and she sped at about 100 miles an hour, she told me, until she finally got here. And this is what she told me after.
Right away, as I parked, U.S. Marshals started coming toward my car saying that I wasn't allowed to be parked there. And he said, "Well, we're going to have to arrest you because you're being very uncooperative." I said, "Well, you're going to have to arrest me because I'm going in there. And I'm telling you right now, I don't see none of y'all in there. Y'all are standing with snipers and y'all are far away. If y'all don't go in there, I'm going in there." He immediately put me in cuffs.
She says after Uvalde police officers told marshals to uncuff Gomez, she ran towards the school.
As soon as they uncuffed me, I jumped that first gate fence. And once I jumped it, I went to my son's class and I knocked on the door. And I remember the teacher saying, I'm like, "Hey, they're already bulge cutting the fence to get me." She's like, "You think we have time to get out?" I said, "Y'all have time. I'm going to run for my other son."
Once she was assured her son was okay, Gomez ran to get her other child, encountering more officers who tried to stop her.
So I start yelling and I'm being uncooperative and I'm like, "Well, y'all aren't doing what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing Y'all need to be in here. Give me your vest. Somebody give me a vest, something." I started paying attention to how far the shots were being so that I knew the shooter was all the way still by my first son's class. So when I went to my second son's door, the teacher didn't want to open the door for me. So that's when they started escorting me out. And as I see that they're opening my son's door, I go run for my son and I get him.
With both of her kids out safe, Gomez still can't shake the thought of those who didn't make it. While you were inside the school, did you see officers
There was
inside
not one
the school?
officer inside the school when I ran to my second son's class. There was not one officer.
And you were hearing gunshots, so you knew
You could hear the
was an
gunshots.
active shooter.
It was still active. The gunshots were still active. They were not in there. There was no one in there. If anything, when I pulled up, my car was closer to the school than where the snipers and everybody that was laying on the ground were.
When you heard that it took law enforcement 75 minutes before they went in and stopped the shooter, what was your thinking, having been inside the school yourself?
I don't know. I was just thinking that they could have saved many more lives. They could have gone into that classroom and maybe 2 or 3 would have been gone, but they could have saved the whole class. They could have done something, gone through the window, sniped them through the window. I mean, something, but nothing was being done. If anything, they were being more aggressive on us parents that were willing to go in there. And like I told one of the officers, "I don't need you to protect me. Get away from me. I don't need your protection. If anything, I need you to go in there with me to go protect my kids." And if anything, they were being more aggressive on us. They were more pertained on keeping us back than getting into that school.
You know, her account is another reflection of just the gaps in communication.
Man, bro, I told you. Bro, did you hear how she said my car was closer to the school than the police and the snipers, and how they were more focused on keeping the parents out than going in the school?
Disclaimer. Wait a minute, but you know there used to be police chief over that is now on the city council.
Mm-hmm. I heard.
Disclaimer. Okay,
hold on. Let me put the disclaimer.
That whole situation is like real fucking sensitive.
I feel so. I probably would have been like her. Like, just let me in the school. If y'all not gonna do nothing, let me in the school. I'll die with my kids before I just stand out here and let y'all just stand around for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
that whole.
I would have been just like that little Mexican or Spanish or what do you call what? I like to be politically correct when I'm talking about people's races. Hispanic. I would have been just like her. Like I don't give a fuck. Arrest me. Y'all better arrest me because I'm going in that school.
Yeah, that whole situation is like extremely sensitive for me.
And maybe if more parents would have ran up in that school, like the lady said, if y'all would have just ran up in there, maybe a child would have got killed. Maybe 2 or 3 kids might have got killed if y'all just ran up on the shooter. But y'all didn't run up on the shooter at all because y'all some fucking punks. A lot of these cops out here is punks. They take that damn oath to protect and serve, but they punks. They'll rather kill somebody who ain't armed before they run up on somebody who is armed. But anyway, I'll let y'all speak. Go ahead.
That's like my grandbaby in school. I'm like, those are babies. Like, what? Like, you cannot make that make sense. There is nothing that you can say nor do to make that make sense at all. This boy shot his grandmother first. Y'all went past this boy. Y'all drove past this boy while he was walking towards the towards the school, and then on top of the fact, this individual was in this school for an hour.
Hour and a half. Like they were outside.
Like 37 minutes is an hour and 17 minutes.
You cannot make
all
that.
All these police were outside, and even if they thought the main what was his name? He said he thought that the shooting was over. He thought that it was what do you call it? He thought it was
he thought it wasn't an active shooting.
Yeah, he thought it was an active shooting at the time.
That
and
nigga
so, you think it was an active shooting, you still stayed outside for all that time.
You had these babies on the phone.
On the phone.
You had these babies calling. You had that one teacher was on the phone with her husband who was a first responder.
Y'all know what? I'm gonna say this.
The kids was calling over and over.
There's no way in hell that my child's gonna call me on the phone and I'm listening to all this shit in the background.
Y'all know I had to get comfortable for this, right?
That's not you.
You know I had to get comfortable. Fuck all that.
Just my 5 cents said they should have had 2 teams. One team handle what was going on inside, the other team to keep the people on the outside out of the way. They didn't do shit. All they did was stay away. That's all they did. They were scared to go in. They were scared to go in, bro.
Let me tell you, it wasn't no scared. It wasn't so much scared at the same time.
That's what you signed up for.
No. Listen, it was. This shit was from the top of the command chain on down. When they had requested, the chain of the command came down and said, "Do not engage."
But bro, they had just taken shooter.
But since you had other, they had other cops that were actually ready to engage. But when they came in and said, if you engage, like she explained with the U.S. Marshal, if you do any damn thing, you are going to. What do you think them dudes was thinking about? And this guys,
they had just taken a class that said specifically, if there is a shooter at the school, you go in. You don't care about your own life. They said if you are not willing to put yourself in that situation,
I'm gonna go in if I see some babies. I hate to do it, but
they specifically had this training a couple of months before this happened. They said if you are not willing to put your life on the line and run up in there. I
feel like that election
shooter, then you do not need to be a police officer. They had that class.
Okay.
Can I say this? In there. They were supposed to go in the school.
Can I say this?
There's no way.
Can I say this? And we all from the hood, right?
Mm-hmm.
two of us from the same city. One, you know what I'm talking about. We all still Midwest.
Yeah, we got D-Town on here. She from the hood too.
You see what I'm talking about? Most of us, I'm talking about, but all three of us, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people who follow us.
Nebraska to Indiana to Michigan. My thing is this. I'm being honest. How many or this scenario do you think could have happened in the hood at elementary school?
None. You know why?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask this one more time. Because now I'm about to go nationwide. And that's for folks that's up on here that may not even be from where we were, wherever the fuck y'all from. And I'm going to ask this, and this is to the hood table a lot familiar. How do you think that this same scenario would have happened in the hood?
In the hood?
At an elementary school.
All the parents, especially
where somebody would have been in that school for over an hour and 17 minutes.
We would have ran up in there within 2.5.
There's been so much gunplay going on, it wouldn't
have
been.
Hold up, my stepdad on the call. Continue.
Even the crackheads in the hood.
Yeah, there'd be no way.
Would have ran up in some shit like that.
The police would have been over.
Fuck the police. And this is what I really want to say. And I'm just going to be honest with y'all and keep it 500. I don't give a damn about that right there, man. When y'all allowed them babies to get transitioned up, y'all ain't shit, man. All that, all police are not the same, man. Fuck y'all. People don't really need that. This is what y'all have to really understand about what the fuck these people was even about. Any of that shit was even created, but don't nobody want to hear the truth on why that shit was created, huh?
I think like something happened to your kids.
Man, ain't nobody got no time for that, man. These people ain't right, man. Because okay. Here's my thing: how many of those that sat around there that didn't do nothing? How many of their children is alive? That's what I want to know. How many of them funky ass motherfucking goat mouth ass motherfuckers can go home to their babies? Those that was at the scene. That's what I want to know. How do you? And I know some of y'all might. They might, even if it's one that see this podcast or this YouTube thing. I'm gonna ask y'all this question: how many of you sorry son of a bitches that was on the scene? How many of you motherfuckers go home and kiss or be around your children or your loved ones that was on the scene and did not engage?
But see, what I heard was from watching news, I heard that some of them had engaged with the shooter and they ran.
Because they some bitch ass niggas, and I'm just saying.
If you
white or black, you some bitch ass niggas. Fuck you.
Y'all shooting up all of us.
You got military style equipment, but you just
y'all killing us on our necks. Y'all on our chest. Y'all doing all kind of shit to get us the fuck out of here. But when there's kids in a school, y'all scared to run up in that bitch. And y'all just had a class a couple of months ago that says specifically that you are supposed to run up in there and engage with the shooter. And if you can't do that, then you in the wrong field. That's the class they just had a couple of months ago.
Them motherfuckers is soft for these popcorns I'm about to eat.
And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of these motherfucking cops take that job for the wrong reason. They run up on a shooter and they scared, but they run up on a motherfucker who ain't got no weapon. And
but y'all just killed. Hold on, but they just killed the essay that they just caught that was on the run down here. They just killed him. And first they came on and said that they seen him, and then they came on with another one and said, well, he got arrested. And then they came on with a third news thing about within a 6-hour period. Oh, he's dead. He's been killed in a shootout with law enforcement. Which one was it? Because dude was basically a hitman for the cartel. He had y'all on the run down here for how long? About 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But y'all ought to, hold on, up here, but he killed 5 folks in Centerville, but y'all killed him down in Poteet. which is south of San Antonio, which is over there in the San Antonio. That's the strawberry capital of the doggone country, Poteet, Texas.
But if all of them would have ran up there, y'all have vests.
They got heat.
Have protection. If they would have ran up in there and met that shooter,
they got 308.
Like that parent, the lady who we just watched, she said,
they could have.
I hate that so many kids died. She said, but if they would have ran up in there, it still could have been maybe one kid. It still could have been maybe two kids. It still could have been maybe one teacher. But it would have been a lot less people killed if they would have just ran up in the school.
They better off janitors. I wouldn't even trust them to clean.
All the whole motherfucking. All of them motherfuckers need to be working at the gas station somewhere pumping gas.
They don't even need that. I don't trust them for that because they'll fuck around and let the goddamn gas get some fucked up shit and be ignited some shit. They let somebody go over there and smoke a live cigarette while they pumping gas.
And I'm not the one. Like, there is no amount of money. Like, I have insurance. I got a 25-year-old. I still got insurance on him. I have insurance on my kids. Always have had. But there is no amount of money that could replace a child, a loved one that can comfort you enough.
None of us, man.
All get paid. There's not enough money. But in this situation, those families, they better sue the fuck out of that whole fucking city.
They need to do more than sue. I'm sorry.
They better sue the fucking socks off of
everybody. KDL said it best. I ain't got nothing else to say.
And that's for real. I'll be trying to sue. I'll be trying to, kids, kids gonna be paying me. That's what I'm talking about.
KDL said it best, and that's all I'm really gonna speak on. And
it's crazy. If somebody walk up, if you in your house, if you come home. And you know there's a shooter in your house, and your kids and your wife is in there. You mean tell me you just stand outside?
Nope.
Like, why the fuck wasn't they up in that school? That's what is so incomprehensible.
No, I'm a fishy man outside. He gonna come outside, but if he don't come outside and he harm my family, he ain't got to worry about ever coming back outside ever again.
I'll be all up in that, like.